I'm 16 years old. I'm a Kurdish Iranian. The reason that we left Iran was my dad disagreed with how things were going. He disagreed with the system. And then I remember my father had to leave the country. Of course, his life was in danger when he left. It was kind of the story of many people against the Iranian government. I suppose my father was lucky that he got away, because members of my mom's family, because they were Kurdish, a lot of them were executed. The years that followed, my mom kept getting questioned about where my father had gone. I remember the night that we were leaving, everyone was really kind of sad. I didn't really understand why they were sad. But then eventually when we got to the airport, it was that moment that I realized that I'm leaving. And then I was upset nearly the whole journey. In Italy, we had to jump over a fence, which seemed rather scary to me. We got stopped by the police and I was scared of the police dog. It was at night. I think we were going for a little forest or something, not sure. But I remember the dogs barking, that scared me. I remember staying one night inside a cottage. I think maybe it was around Slovenia, I'm not sure. I remember the night that we were leaving outside the cottage, I felt scared because it was at that point where I could see the concern on my mom's face. To get into England, we got into a lorry from France. The lorry was full of iron bars. It was the first time throughout the journey where I was really, really uncomfortable and scared. I really wanted to get off, and then when we finally got over to the UK, I remember someone cutting open the back of the lorry, kind of like one of these movies where the sunlight comes in. So, we came out, and I remember the British Border Agency, they were really friendly. And then, of course, it was around that day that I saw my dad after like 2-3 years. And it was the weirdest thing because it wasn't what you'd expect, run to your dad, hug him. At first, I didn't recognize who it was. And then after a while, he told me how he's my dad and how he's missed me so much. And then I remember sitting in the back and my mom was sitting in the front. I remember it was that night. The whole journey, I just kept looking at him, trying to figure out what's going on, who he is. And then slowly, I got more and more comfortable towards him. The first few days at school were really hard on me, not because of the other students or teachers, but not knowing anything, or just literally being an outsider. That was really scary for me. A memory I have was school had started and they'd closed the fences, and then at break time my mom came to say hello, and then when she did come, I talked to her, and then once the bell rang to start lessons again, I remember holding onto the fence as if it was some sort of prison. You could feel literally not knowing what someone around you is saying, even though they're being friendly. You could tell with the smiles and facial expressions that they're being friendly, not knowing what their meaning was. It was quite scary for me. There was a mixed variety of backgrounds, and the fact that there were refugee kids at that school and this center where you'd go to after school to be with other kids, it was a great support. So even though the first few months were really uncomfortable, having that sense of atmosphere was a great help.